The lesson objective is to solve the linear equations in one variable. We'll be dealing with fractions. You can write the title Handling Linear Equations with Fractions. The prior knowledge that you need here is to know how you can cross multiply. Now if you are given an equation which says x over 25 is equal to 1 over x. Now in this case you should know that you cross multiply like this. So it's going to be x multiplied by x equal to 1 multiplied by 25. Secondly, you should be familiar with addition of fractions. Now in this case you can see the denominators are different. So I'll be using the butterfly method where I'll be multiplying 3 by 3 plus I have 4 multiplied by x, and my denominator is going to be 4 multiplied by 3. So this is the butterfly method which you can use. So I'll call this as method 1. Or you can use method 2, 3 over 4 plus x over 3. We know the LCM is going to be 12. So I multiply here with 3 in the numerator and denominator to make it an equivalent fraction with denominator 12. And here I'll be multiplying with 4. So my fractions will look like 9 over 12 plus 4x over 12, giving me the same answer. Any one of these methods can be used. So this is just the prior knowledge that you required for the section. Before we start solving, I'll be just giving you the key steps. Step 1, bring all the variable terms to one side. You have two parts to an equation, the left hand side and the right hand side. Try to bring the variable. It can be x or y or a. Just bring all the variables to any one of the sides and then keep the constants or shift the constants numbers to the other side. That's the second step. And third is just solve for the variable using the algebraic rules. The question is solve for x, and I have put each of the questions as type 1, type 2, type 3 up to type 5 so that you can distinguish the techniques or the methods or the approach that you have to take for each of the questions. So just be careful with that and take note of it. Let's start with the first one. As discussed in the prior knowledge, when you have a by b is equal to c by d, you have to cross multiply where you have a multiplied by d giving you b multiplied by c. So this is the first step that I'll take here. So I have 2 is equal to, now if it's just 1, it just means 1 by 1. So 2 multiplied by 1 is just 1. So I have 1 multiplied by x minus 1. So I have done the cross multiplication. So I have 2 is equal to x minus 1. My next step would be to keep the x, the variable, in one side and remove or shift all the constants to the other side. The constant to the other. So I have 2, negative 1 here, shifting to the other side, it becomes plus 1. So this is my x. I can write the answer as x equals 3. A pretty easy question. Moving on to the next. Again, solve for x, type 2. Now question to you, can I directly cross multiply this x to the other side? No, you cannot do that. Why? Because you have a negative 3 in between. So here we are going to keep the variable in one side of the equation, and I'm going to shift this negative 3 to the other side first. So I have 6 over x equal to 7 plus 3. The negative 3 shifting to the other side, the sign changes. I have 6 over x equal to 10. Now can I do the cross multiplication? Yes, I can. Now here I can give you two methods. Method 1 will be to flip both the sides of the fractions. Like 6 over x, I can write it as x over 6, and 10 over 1, if there is no denominator, it's the meaning is 10 over 1, will be 1 over 10. Now my x is going to be, I'll cross multiply 6 to the other part, so 6 over 10, which is 0.6. So this is one method of solving. Coming back to this, you can again do the cross multiplication. You get 6 is equal to 10x. So what is x from this? So 6 divided by 10 is your x, which is again 0.6. You get the same answer in both the techniques. Now you can always do a checking, because if you want to make sure that your answer is right, you can just try this. This is going to be 10 minus 3, giving you a 7. So which means your answer is right. Let's see one more question of the similar pattern. Here again, you cannot directly cross multiply, not possible. So first I'll shift the number minus 1, because I have a plus 1 shifted to the other side. It's negative 1 is equal to 3 over x. So negative 3 is equal to 3 over x. Now you can use any one of the methods. So negative 3 over 1. So flipping the fraction, so I have 1 over negative 3 equals x over 3. Cross multiply, so 3 over negative 3 is your x, and you have your answer as x equals negative 1. Trying a similar question, you can pause the video and do it by yourself and check the answer with me. Let's move on to type 3. Here you have fractions getting bigger. The question is solve for x. 5 over x plus 5 is equal to 15 over x plus 7. The step 1 remains the same. You're going to cross multiply. So 5 multiplied by x plus 7 is going to be equal to 15 multiplied by x plus 5. Expanding the brackets, we have 5x plus 35 is equal to 15x plus 75. So thinking about the rule 1, where we're going to bring all the variables to one side and the constants to the other. Now it's up to you whether you want to shift 5x to the other side or you want to bring 15x to this side. So I'll just prefer shifting 15x to the left hand side and taking the constant 35 to the RHS, the right hand side. By shifting, I'll write 5x. This is the plus 15x that I have, so it turns minus equals, I already have the 75 there. I'll write that first. And then the plus 35 going to the other side becomes minus 35. So 5x minus 15x is going to be a minus 10x. 75 minus 35 will give me a 40. And the sign is positive. So my x is going to be 40 divided by negative 10, giving me a negative 4. So my answer is going to be x equals negative 4. Now let me give you another question from type 3. Now from type 3, let me just show you two more questions where even though the question looks like this, it's just the same. It's like 3x plus 2 over 5. So the method that you will do will just remain the same. And here what you have to be careful is with the negative sign. When you cross multiply and try to simplify this part, you have to be very careful handling the negative. So it's negative 35x and it's minus 14. So it's just that you have to be more careful while multiplying with the negative sign. And the simplification is just the same. Now here you can see a negative 14 and a negative 14 on either side of the equations. Now let me just remind you, if you have the same term with the same sign on both the sides, it just means you can cancel them. Why? Because negative 14, when once shifted to the other side, it becomes positive. So the net result is a 0. So you can just cancel it from now. So what remains is negative 35x equals 14x. Now here, bringing to one side, for sure you can see negative 35x minus 14x is giving you a 0 on this side, which clearly shows that the value of x is going to be 0 here. So your answer for this question is x equals 0. Moving on to type 4, it's again solve for x. In this part you can see two fractions on the left hand side and one on the right. Now already the variable lies on one side where we have x on the LHS. Now the question is, here it's not a single denominator. So my first step would be to solve this part of the equation. I'll be using the butterfly method. So I'll multiply 3 with x plus 1 and I have a minus here, and 4 with x divided by 4 multiplied by 3 is equal to 1 over 12. Expanding the brackets, 3x plus 3 minus 4x over 12 is equal to 1 over 12. Now I have 12 in the denominator here and I have 12 in the denominator here, so I'll just cancel them. Or to clarify it, I can say when 12 goes to this part, see it's 12 divided by 12 that you get, which is again a 1. 3x minus 4x plus 3 equals 1. I have negative 1x equal to plus 3 to the other side it becomes minus 3. So negative 1x equals negative 2. My answer for x is x equals negative 2 over negative 1, giving me a 2. Just to avoid your confusion, negative 1x equals negative 2. So x is going to be a 2. You can even do a checking to make sure your answer is right. Go back to the question. In place of x, you just put 2. So 2 plus 1 over 4 minus 2 over 3. So this is going to be 3 over 4 minus 2 over 3. So it's a 12. 12 multiplied by 3 and here by 4. 9 minus 8 giving me 1 over 12, which is my value here. Giving you another question to solve from your end. Now in this question you have to be very careful with the negative sign. I'll start with the butterfly method. So I have 5 multiplied by x minus 1 minus, I'm going to multiply 4, so 4 multiplied by 2x minus 3 divided by 20. 4 multiplied by 5 is 20 equals 1 over 20. Expanding the brackets, I have 5x minus 5 minus 4 multiplied by, so I have minus 8x plus 12 over 20 equals 1 over 20. I can cancel the 20s. Combining the like terms, negative 5x minus 8x giving me negative 3x, minus 5 plus 12 giving me a plus 7 equals 1. So negative 3x is going to be 1 minus 7, because this plus 7 goes to the other side. So I have negative 3x equals negative 6. And x is going to be negative 6 over negative 3, giving me a 2. So my answer will be x equals 2. Now talking about the last type for the day, which is type 5. It's just the rearrangement that you should understand. By now you have seen how to solve the type 4 question. So here the question will be in this form where you have to just rearrange, like x plus 1 over 4. You have a negative x over 9. So the aim should be to bring the variables to one side of the equation. So I'll be bringing x over 9 to this part, and then you have 1 over 36. So now this is a type 4 solving. So that is all that you have to remember when you get a question in this form. Remember the step 1, bring the variables to one side. So that's it. We'll be taking a short break.